Hi, and welcome to the December meeting of the Austin Herb Society. It is always a really exciting time of year for us to do this. As you know, most of our meetings are put together by our wonderful program committee under the leadership of our Vice President of Programs, Aline Guillot. But the December holiday event is one of our biggest events, and we've got two very capable co-chairs that are going to lead us through today's meeting. And Aline will come up at the end of this meeting and tell you who we've got lined up for January. We have a really special program for you for January. Before we get started, though, we like to know who besides our members are joining us today. So I'm going to ask our Vice President of Membership, Suzanne Cochran, to introduce any new members and guests. So take it away, Suzanne.
Okay, well, we don't have any guests that I'm aware of, and we've already said hi to Stephanie Hunter, whom I believe is here because of you, Karen, the connection with you, and the Zilker. Stephanie, unmute yourself if you want. I have your form in front of me. I can tell some folks a couple of things. Hi. Her interests and skills include photography, bicycling, and reading. So that's a nice combination. And she wants to be part of the Culinary Group and the Herbal Products Group, study group, which is also a feature that a lot of people are forgetting about. And have some interest in helping with community education and outreach, Lucinda, hospitality, and member or sponsor support. So we may be tapping you on the shoulders before too long. So welcome to the group. You want to say hello to everybody? And
Thank you.
Are you?
Thank you.
You're from Austin already. You're not new to Austin.
Yeah, no, I've been in Austin over 25 years. I just started in March working at Zilker Botanical Garden, which has, I'm a very beginner gardener, but starting work there has kind of inspired me, and I love to cook, so I thought herbs were a good place to start learning about gardening.
You said it. Okay. When and if we get back to in-person meetings, you'll be amazed and delighted at the wonderful snacks and fare that our hospitality group puts together.
Oh, great. I look forward to it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, and the phone number, that's Judy Schlotzauer.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
And we know we also have Louise Ernst on one of the phone numbers as well, so that's great. The Herb Society considers itself very lucky, Stephanie. You had 30 clubs to join and you joined ours, and we're really glad to have you with us, so that's great. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started now. I'm going to bring up my screen. Okay. So welcome to our December meeting. Reflections, Connections, Confections of the Austin Herb Society are a big December event. Our hosts today are two very special co-chairs. I could say that Susan Norwood and Lucinda Rudin have their roots very deep in the Austin Herb Society, but that would be extremely corny. But it would also be very, very true. Both have worked every position at the Austin Herb Society, from a garden volunteer all the way to committee chairs to board members. Both have served as presidents during their time here. But throughout all their time at the Austin Herb Society, they loved doing events. So we are really, really happy that they joined us and signed on to do the holiday event. The story you're about to hear tells about how an herb club and an herb garden became a very rich ground for reflections, connections, and confections from 1983 to the present. So take it away, Susan.
Hey, happy holidays and welcome to our holiday meeting. We finally got the weather for it, so that's helping us. It's always been a special one where we put business aside for the most part and celebrate us. It's a time to chat and shop with our sponsors and get out our festive wear and of course eat. So we've tried to give a nod to all of that, to what is special. And I'd like to celebrate a toast later. So y'all have, get ready to have something to raise at the end of the program. And we also have, like you say, the best food and great hats. You'll see. Putting this together made me think of how strong and active we've been through the years since our founding in 1983, how involved in the community as one of the 30 Zilker clubs, and how creatively we are working into the future. We have our continual work at Zilker to create a beautiful space where our educational efforts are centered, along with our website now. Judith Kraft, another longtime member, she got me into the club in 2005. So she has created a lovely brief history of our club and the garden. So it's nice for us to be reminded and to have you new people to be really introduced to some of this.
So this is Alta Niebuhr. She is the founder of the Austin Herb Society. There was a newspaper article that this picture was part of that says she used herbs in landscaping her Lake Austin home and plucks from this living library for talks at garden clubs and festivals. The next slide is an old picture, 1978, this was taken. Best I can tell, the fragrance garden went in about 1974. It was constructed for the visually impaired. So note the massive handrails there on either side as you enter. That is our cloverleaf area. The wisteria was grown on the framework that you see in that photograph, but I was told by one of the workers that after it blew away twice, they didn't build it the third time. The raised beds are part of what is now the cloverleaf here you see with rosemary in the middle. This is Rosemary, the goddess of herb gardens, by sculptor Mary Albrecht, who was a member of the Austin Herb Society. And we gave it to the city in celebration of the turn of the century in the year 2000. So next is the Zilker Herb Garden sign that was installed about the time the Herb Society was celebrating its 20th anniversary. The next is the Native Texas Herb Garden site. Michelle Chaput, who I asked about earlier, brought the idea to the Horticulture Committee for AAGC and was given the approval. And this site became, next Karen, this. The only thing that you see is that little green water thing that's in both of the slides. This is from the north, this is from the south side. So the cloverleaf is on your left here. And then the next slide is from the north side near the service road that we go down to park in the volunteer parking area. So this was all Native Texas Herb Garden designed by Eloise Doherty in 2003, constructed by Glenn Cooper. And then the volunteers filled it with the soil and dozens of plants, some they brought from home. And then it was dedicated to V. Fowler, who was a very active member. And the dedication was 2005. So the next one is a sculpture called Coneflowers and Cattails. And it was donated by Claudia Goldman, who I believe was a friend of Michelle Chaput's. And she had a lifelong love of Zilker Botanical Garden. And the idea here was to bring visitors down into the herb garden, because once cars were all parked in front of that bed, people didn't really notice that there was a garden back there at all. So Rosemary and this sculpture both helped to bring them back in. So next, this is Lucinda Hudson's house. Now, the original agenda for the 1983 Herb Society first meeting, there was penciled in on the side, tour Lucinda Hudson's garden. She was on the member list for that year. She was one of the first members. and was at some point early on in charge of the volunteers for the Zilker Herb Garden. We took over the fragrance garden pretty early on, like I think right in 1983. This was before Lucinda became more famous for cookbooks and tequila recipes and things like that. And she's hosted us at her house. Go to the next one, Karen. She's hosted the Herb Society at her house a few times in the past. This is a members garden tour. This is the silly hat photograph. And you all probably remember that Kim Lehman, who is sitting dead center in the middle row, was responsible for most of the hats that we're wearing in the silly hat photo. So the next one is the Culinary Group. This was started by Sarah Holland, who's on the far left. She's also in the picture in the blue shirt. And Betty Williamson, who's in the bright pink shirt. And then quickly, Sarah Holland got busy because she lives out in Dripping Springs, and Sandra Holland took over as co-chair with Betty for the next number of years before it slid over to Judy Schlotzhauer and others. The next one, this is on a member luncheon one year. We had a speaker talking about teas, and so everybody brought teapots from home, and we filled them with herbs, and those were our table decorations, and they just turned out to be beautiful. I don't remember who went around and took pictures of all of them, but I'm very grateful because I've used them over and over again. Next one. This is Bill Varney on a field trip to Fredericksburg to his business is now called Urban Herbals, and he's making a salad here. And then Susan Wittig Alpert on the right-hand side is the author of the China Bale mystery novels. And she has been our speaker at Herb Society meetings, and this was a luncheon one year. We've always had excellent speakers and field trips, thanks to our wonderful people who chair those committees. So the next one, this is when the herb garden moved to more sunshine. We were given the ability to move into the old rose garden site. Roses were not planted in the upper and lower tiers, but this is the beginning of our planting for the upper and lower tiers that are now the herb garden. And this is the west side of the staircase on the left-hand side of your screen. When it was newly planted, all those little teeny tiny plants that went in. This was after we did the double digging and all of the soil amending. And then on the right-hand side, that's Norris in the far background. And this is when the beds were a little more fully grown out from that original planting. So the next one is also the west side of the herb garden in the middle of the spring bloom. That's rosemary and clary sage at the top of the hill. And as you go down the hill, there's all the basils and many other plants, including that little Mexican mint marigold there that's in the inset. And the next one is our dedication ceremony in 2017. The herb garden went in just in time for the Zilker Garden Festival, 60th Zilker Garden Festival, which turned out to be the very last one. But this was for our dedication ceremony, and I believe Norris and maybe Norris's mother also were responsible for this beautiful table decoration that we had there. It's been a wonderful time. Back to you, Susan.
All right. Thank you, Judith. That was beautiful. And I know a lot of work to dredge that up and to find them. It's great to be reminded of so many of our strengths and just how we change as time changes. Some highlights for me through the years were when I joined in 2005, a lot of our members were and still are teachers. Back then, we had a busmobile that was still going, a decked out van that went to schools bringing herbs and lore to kids and other places. It was retired as members moved on to other activities. My first job when I joined was merchandise chair. And you see Gail Smith there. She's been our merchandise chair for the last little bit. And we, at the time, we sold cookbooks and calendars in our own cookbooks and totes. That's kind of morphed to people stopped buying the lavish cookbooks that I would buy because we get all our recipes online now, and I know I do. And so we've moved on from that. We've also moved on from mimeograph newsletters to a lovely online monthly newsletter, and from telephone trees, which I still remember, to group emails and websites and Zoom. And throughout this time, we've had a string of presidents leading the way, providing the shape and continuity of our endeavors and having fun along the way. Lucinda made this President's Walk. It's like a yellow brick road that we're following as we go along. And these people have been our cheerleaders and such. They have come from the core of our membership. Many are still involved in the organizations. I see Kate Alsobrook, I see Jan Bland, Lucinda for sure, Nerese, Roberta, Cindy Boyle, who signed in with the phone, she's one, and several others. It's been great to just continue to see your face. So they have given up their time and energy to help our group meet our commitments and goals, and each has had their own vision to keep us moving along and trying new things. I'd like for people to use the chat button at this point sometime and just tell us how you all got involved and got interested in what we're doing, and just give us a few feedbacks there, and any other comment you want to make. Go ahead and put it down there in the chat and we can enjoy those later. Our current presidents are leading the way in this era, and I want to round for Karen and Nerese, and Autumn is now our webmaster, Jan is our former webmaster, all these things that are being our elves to get us used to Zoom and chat and PowerPoints and all that stuff. We're getting there. Moving into the present, something I do miss, especially at this moment, is our connection with our sponsors. They're listed on the website with their info and links, and I really encourage you to remember them and check them out. Most of those are fellow active members who give more than their membership to support us as a group. They're passionate crafters who are also local businesses. So I'm always glad to support those. Today we have some of our sponsors, a couple of our sponsors, to talk about their crafts and the meanings they convey. And the first one is our Lucinda Rudin.
All right. Here we go.
It worked.
It worked.
Okay. So I named my business Cindy Lou Creation. Cindy Lou is what my uncle used to call me, and it's kind of Lucinda backwards. But all right, it's not wanting to trend. Here we go. So one of the things I was thinking about when we came up with this idea for a theme for our meeting is that often we have objects that bring back memories of different people in our lives or different experiences and so on. And jewelry is one of those things. My grandmother was a very important person to me. And she, over the years, was a counselor, a friend, et cetera, but I also inherited some of her jewelry. She had 2 diamond rings that she always kept on her ring finger on her left hand. She left those to me. She also left me her pearls, which I wore at my wedding. And the little earrings that you see in the left-hand corner were her favorites, and she wore those almost every day. And here she is
Oh,
wearing her hat. She didn't go out of the house without the hat, the earrings, and
Absolutely.
usually white gloves.
Mhm.
So I was wondering, what is it for each of us that sticks in our memory? The way your home is decorated, the smell of meals cooking in the kitchen. Sometimes it's your garden. It could be creating pictures. You might be a painter, or you might paint words with words, or make scrapbooks, or memories of being cuddled. Sometimes, especially now during the pandemic, sometimes we feel like we just want to be cuddled by somebody and we can't. And remembering antics that your children put on, or that your animals did. I was talking about my cats acting up last night and scattering things all over the living room. So jewelry has been around for a long time. I happen to have some Egyptian beads. There was a company called Aladdin House, and they sold antiquities. So this is called faience. It's made out of glass. They figured out how to make glass tubes, and they colored the beads with different minerals and so on. And some of those beads that you see there are 3,500 years old. But don't wear them too often. I'm afraid of breaking them. We've gone through lots of fads in jewelry. Crystals were very big for a long time, and sometimes we still haul them out for a special occasion. I was gifted by many elderly relatives with they wanted to give their crystals to someone, so I have enough crystals for about 3 people. And then pearls. I've got a bunch of pearls also, and thinking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg with her pearls.
mhm.
We can haul them out just in honor of her. Pins, cameos, all kinds of things. There's a set there. The set in the lower right-hand corner also was my grandmother's. So all of this stuff is sitting around. I've repurposed some of it because it's kind of a shame to just have it sitting. But I actually create jewelry myself, and started accidentally when I needed some earrings to match a couple of necklaces that I had. Couldn't find them, so I went into Nomadic Notions and I picked out the beads and I designed something, and then they helped me put them together because I didn't know how to do the hardware part at that point. And then later I took some classes with them and I was off and running. And I kind of specialize in natural stone and Swarovski crystals, also some Czech crystals. So there are the earrings with the necklaces that I designed them to match. So I'm going to show you some of my jewelry. It's just a small selection. And if you're interested in any of them, make a note of the item number so that we can communicate on the same level and I'll know what you're talking about. The item on the left is actually an antique baby rattle. It took me a while to figure out what it was. It's a sterling silver elephant with a mother of pearl ring, and it does rattle. but I just attached a leather necklace to it. On the right are some earrings that have become kind of my signature design. Swarovski crystal. And here is some Jasper. I started reading about the qualities of stones, and I'm not really into that stuff too much, but I found out that Jasper is supposed to help you to be content and relaxed and relieve mental stress. And I thought, wow, everybody should have some during the pandemic. And then here are some more earrings, Swarovski and also mother of pearl. So different color combinations. Blue and green are my favorites, but I try to vary because I know not everybody is in love with blue and green. This is carnelian on the left, which is a form of agate. It's also supposed to be a healing stone. And then I have some false turquoise. Turquoise is quite expensive to buy now. It's becoming more and more scarce. And as you probably know, it's a stone that's sacred to Native Americans. This is a Swarovski combination that they call Sonoran, like the colors of the desert with some turquoise. And more earrings. These are designed specifically for the Christmas time to look a little bit like trees. And I have some pearls that are actually made by Swarovski, so they're not the real thing, but these are burgundy color. And then these are blue and white. I love this design. This is called Fancy Jasper. It varies in shade from a dark green to a tan color. And I made copper connectors in there and wrapped the big stone with copper. And then this is gray pearls with jet and silver spacers. Another really pretty combination. The pictures don't really reproduce the colors accurately. After all, I was using my cell phone for making the photographs. So, and this is also check glass with a Swarovski pendant. So if you're interested in purchasing any of these things, I do accept credit cards. I can ship them to you. If you're buying a set, I have them in boxes. I can ship them priority mail. Or if not, if you don't need the box, I can put them into a padded envelope and the shipping price would be less expensive. I just want to mention at this time how much I appreciate the work that my co-chair did. Susan really came up with a lot of these great ideas, and Karen has been very, very helpful too. So thank you to both of you. And now I'd like to introduce Stephanie Froge, whose business is called Garden Charms. And Stephanie's been very, very generous in providing a new garden charm for each new member. So Stephanie, take it away. Let me just get out of there.
All right. Well, good morning. Thank you for that. I am also happy to be here as an active member and a sponsor. And as Lucinda said, I am the owner and crafter behind Garden Charms. And I actually bought the business. I didn't invent it. I bought it from Jackie Compere in San Antonio, which some of you folks who have been around a little bit longer might actually remember Jackie. But when she told me that I couldn't buy charms from her anymore because she was selling the business, I actually spent a whole summer trying to figure out who would be a good person to buy the business and keep it going. And then it dawned on me that maybe I was that person. So I've had a lot of fun making it my own since Jackie passed it on to me, and we remain friends to this day. But my primary item that I sell are garden markers that are herb names. I may go into vegetables one of these days, but haven't done it yet. So herb markers of all different kinds. And then I have a lot of markers that are just funny sayings. Some examples here. And I'm very excited. My very newest fun saying garden marker, a lot of you will appreciate this, is mojitos in training for your mint bed. So I know that if we ever can meet in public again and have the herb festivals and garden shows that I enjoy so much, this is going to be a bestseller. I also make custom markers, which from time to time people have expressed an interest in. Happy to talk with you about that if that's something you would like to look at, but I can tell you they won't be ready in time for Christmas. So won't have any ready for you this year for Christmas gifts, but maybe another time. Then the other thing that I make are frog hideouts, and that is a Hoya Santa leaf or root beer plant leaf that I press into the clay to make the little roofs. And those come in with labels that say either toad abode, fairy house, frog hideout, or casa de gecko. And you can use those in your garden as decorations. And the frogs and toads do have to go somewhere. So with a little bit of luck, you might actually get one living in your frog hideout. So markers are $5 each. Hideouts, it depends on the size, run from 10 to 25. And if you're looking to give garden markers as a gift, you can get them mounted in a gift box. You choose which 6 markers, and that box can be wrapped. So look forward to helping you out this holiday if there's anything that you need. And with a little bit of luck, we'll be together again in the spring in time for spring planting. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Somebody last year at the Christmas party wanted "We Don't Rent Pigs." I wrote down her name, made the garden marker, and I can't read her name. So anyway, if that was you, give me a shout.
All right. Here is their information for the last 2. And we also have, a number of other great creators. Some of our sponsors will be our speakers and have been. So we do get to hear from them sometimes, but go to the website and get a look at everybody. They're all just wonderful. All right. Now we're getting to the good stuff. I see some great festive backgrounds around here. Let me get to if I can get to that up, it won't go up. Particularly when we get back to the chat thing, take a look at Roberta Showerman, who has always come up with, she has in the past had the entire meeting room to decorate. And so she has obviously condensed it. She and John are very festive. A number of us have turned out festive. I really, really love that. John has been documenting our fun with the a number of these photographs are from him along the ways, and our historian. So I'm just loving the ones that Karen picked out and have put up for us to show our things. Yeah, and here we are. This is, yes, our tribe, as Val said in the chat. She's found her tribe. I think it's a wonderful looking tribe. I know several families who just celebrated Thanksgiving, separate but together, as we now say, exchanging recipes and cooking in their own homes, but sharing the moment. So it's kind of a new trend we're celebrating today. New ways of breaking bread together. If you, some of you have gotten cookies or had them if you couldn't manage to wait till today. I think it's kind of cruel to give people cookies 2 days before and tell them to save them, but some of you have. These cookies came from Sarah and her friend they are high school juniors and seniors, the little woman on the left, who during the lockdown last spring started a baking company. And they're continuing it, even though they're now back in school. 80%, I think, of their profits go to United Way Austin for COVID relief. So they are another local business who's doing good in the world, and their cookies are great. So if anybody wants their information, you can email me and I'll give it to you. These cookies, okay, yes. And I want to thank all the elves who distribute it. We're trying to develop a distribution system that gets hopefully more and more streamlined. We started with the herb sale, and now we're moving up to cookies. So as we move into a more technologically advanced way of doing our business, hopefully these systems will become more streamlined and efficient. So I had 5 distributions. So the cookies came here, and then I sent cookies to Karen and Val and Jenny and Jan, and they then people were able to pick up from there in other parts of the city. So hopefully I've made it a little more efficient. I found a quote that I love from a book by a woman named Robin Wall Kimmerer. And the book's title, I haven't gotten to read it yet, but I really want to, Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. And that just sounds like everything I want to be reading right now. So that quote is, and she says, the other day I was raking leaves in my garden to make compost, and it made me think, this is our work as humans at this time, to build good soil culturally and socially, and to create potential for the future. So get your toast ready. I want to raise a toast to our past, present, and future as a vibrant, active family of passionate gardeners, cooks, artists, medicine makers, and teachers to help and feed each other as we create good soil in our lives and on our dear Mother Earth.
Amen.
Amen.
This is my Saint Germain that I made for our July meeting.
Yum. And I was wondering if Karen has her, what cordial, your Tulsi cordial that you made?
No, I should. It is a little early, but that African blue basil bourbon smash is one of my highlights of the year. Or maybe that's what's in this cup. I'm not saying.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you know, Karen, now that you mentioned the African blue basil, we still have at least 4 healthy plants in the herb garden. If somebody wants to come and take cuttings off of it and propagate African blue basil for next spring, it'd be great.
Great. And this is a time that you're all looking forward to where you get to share.
That's
If
right.
you've got a reminiscence or something that you would like to share, please raise your hand and we will unmute you and let you continue with these wonderful reflections that Susan and Lucinda and Judith and Stephanie has taken us on. So
there's been some great chat things. that a lot of people just are talking about how they got in, how they came here. Random friend told me I should continue. I love that. And can't even remember who got, yeah, Andra, can't even remember who got me into the Herb Society. And she was also, weren't you a past president too?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's
And Elaine Betterton, been interested for years. I was also interested for years, but I worked on Tuesday mornings. And so I really thought for years that, oh, these are just ladies who lunch, just something. And it wasn't until I was able to finally join that I realized they were much more than dilettantes lunching. You know, there were potters and acupuncturists and people who managed to get off work on Tuesdays so they could come. They were just really dedicated and creative people who I just, yeah, it's my tribe, as Val says.
froze
It's-
last night. Oh.
Yeah, my, oh yes, and Suzanne, I love that. My nonconformist mother once coated a bare tree branch with white plaster of Paris and covered it with balls. I did that once year too, just used a dead branch and we twined some ivy around it. So we figured that was really midwinter, you know. And yeah, learned about AHS, joined AHS at the spring herb sale, Carla says. And Aline was invited by Emily Tischinger. She's, I haven't seen her in a long time, but yes, she took attend the Christmas Bazaar. Yeah, that's great. And it has been. Nerese said, I was wearing a squirrel hat as I talked about the acorn tea I brought. Oh, that's right. That's right. The acorn tea, I remember that. In fact, I bought some. It was good. And cookies and yes, the halo in the back were my last year's Christmas. Christmas angels and snowflakes, and I just put them up there and they've just stayed all year.
I want to share a connection that I have when we were going through all the different scrapbooks and looking at people and places. Back in 1987, the Austin Herb Society had its one and only male president. His name was Philip Hotel. Philip is my ex-husband. He at the time was not only the president of the Austin Herb Society, but the AAGC, the Austin Herb Society rep to AAGC. And here we are in 2020, and what's the connection? I am the Austin Herb president and the Austin Herb rep to AAGC. So we've kept it in the family, and it's just really, I remember the work that he did for you all. He was the editor of the newsletter, The Potpourri, and it was just really fun to be reminded of all of that.
Ah.
Yes, Nerese wants to say something. Nerese, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Okay, I did. No, that just reminded me belatedly of thinking that we should all thank Karen for her, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears, heart and soul, whatever you want to call it, that she has put into the Herb Society. She's really dedicated a lot of time and effort into making us an even better organization, and she deserves a lot of credit for that. And sometimes we just don't stop and think about, you know, those things. So just want to insert that.
Here, here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Here. Yeah. It's been a great time. I think I've made great friends, lifetime friends. And I think we're going to move together into a whole new future that's going to be very interesting.
I'd like to say thank you to Kate Alsabrook, because when I joined, it was right before she became president. And you know that little form you fill out that says, what are your interests?
Mhm.
Well, Kate called me and wanted to know. I said that I would help with plant sales. And the next thing I knew, I was the plant sale chairman. Never even been to a plant sale. But it's been a lot of fun and I appreciate it. Kate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So watch out, Stephanie. You filled out that form.
That's
you could
right.
you could be president one day. Watch out.
It happens like that. It often happens like that.
Any other reminiscences?
Well, I don't know if anybody else is aware of this, but Stephanie Hunter is the development person for the Zilker Botanical Garden Conservancy. So we're going to hear a lot from her from that slant. And I believe you are directly responsible for getting us on Giving Tuesday. Is that correct? It popped up on my email this morning.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Anybody else? Anybody else have anything they wanna shout out?
I'd like to say something. I was one of the more resistant people to learning how to do Zoom, I must confess. But thanks to Karen's gentle encouragement and wonderful and patient support, I have come to really appreciate our Zoom meetings and to realize these things are a complement. They're not a substitution for, they're a complement to our activity in the Herb Society. And I think they're going to always have a place in our future development. So onward to the future. Even if we all do get vaccinated next year and start being able to eat in one another's presence, there will be a place for the Zoom meetings. So thank you, Karen, for that.
That's a great point, Aline. That's, I think, true. They are the tools that we need to be able to continue our work. I'm getting lots of, oh yes, Stephanie, I'm in favor of bringing back a hat tradition. If we're going to be doing Zoom, I think that, yes, hats assume a new important.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. And crowns.
It's nice to see. It's nice to see Elaine's comment in the chat too, that she had just joined us just before COVID. So we're really looking forward to you being involved with us too, Elaine Betterton. I know you're in one of the other clubs too. Your name is familiar. That's great. Well, if nobody else has anything to share right now, we can go to a few announcements that we have, and then we come back to all talking when we finish with the announcements. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
So as we mentioned earlier, we haven't been hearing too much about the Herbal Products Group, but our leader of that group, Autumn Schultz, is getting that going, and so she has an announcement about that. And also in her role as nominating committee, she's going to talk to us about some news there. So Autumn?
Hey, I'm having trouble with getting my video, so you may only be able to hear me today. I'm sorry, everybody. But yes, this Saturday, we are going to be having our reinitiation of the AHS Herbal Product Group. You guys may have seen the announcement in the newsletter. And so this Saturday, it's going to be 10 to 11:30. It will be on Zoom, and it will also be recorded for those who may not be able to actually attend the lives from your backyard. So we're going to talk anything from tea, smudge sticks, making jellies, honeys, vinegars, just to name a few of the wonderful recipes and ideas that our members will share. And we're encouraging you, just like today, to wear your favorite holiday sweater, hat, or scarf. And I just sent an email out during this meeting to everybody who is on my current products group list. If you are not on there, if you, I'm on my emails in the membership, but I'll mention it just right quick if anybody wants to write it down. If you haven't, if you don't think you're on the product email list, my email is autumn, AUTUMN, as in kite, S as in Schultz, 0621 at Gmail. Again, that's autumn, KS 0621 at Gmail. And I'll be sending out the Zoom link later this week. So I'm really excited. I'm looking for a couple of more folks to help present and share kind of what you guys like to use, either, you know, from your backyard to be able to give gifts to different friends and family. And then Karen, did you want me to talk about the elections real quick too?
Yes, we need
Okay,
somebody
awesome.
to join the President's Walk.
Awesome, awesome. So as I mentioned last meeting, we are going to be having our elections in April. So it's definitely a wonderful time for people to be joining the AHS leadership team. And as you've seen today, we have a wonderful group of past presidents, past vice presidents, chairs, co-chairs. We've had so many wonderful folks pitch in to help keep us going and having fun while doing it. So we are looking for a couple of positions, including the president-elect. So if anyone is interested, please let me know as well. I'm still looking for a couple of folks on the committee, and we're going to be meeting mainly virtual this year. So yeah, y'all just let me know on either front.
Great, thank you so much. I put the Austin Herb Society email in the chat. It's good for everything to come directly to that rather than remembering everybody's separate emails. So send anything to the Austin Herb Society at gmail.com. We'll make sure that Autumn gets your name for both the nominating committee and joining the herbal product list. And also Carla has a note about the Culinary Survey. Carla, do you want to talk about the Culinary Survey?
Sure. I sent out an email today just to get a survey of what people would like to do going forward with culinary, since it seems like we won't be meeting in person anytime soon again. And then also we're doing a holiday recipe share this month. So you can send those to me and I'll make a nice collection and send them back out to everyone just to get some new ideas for some things you can cook and bake.
Great, thank you. And then I said at the beginning that we would hear from our wonderful Vice President of Programs, Aline. Aline is going to tell us what our fabulous program is in January with one of our longtime sponsors. So take it away, Aline. Nope, unmute yourself, dear. There you go.
There
Okay.
we go. Thank you, Karen. I am delighted. Our next as good as all of these have been so far this year, and we've been so fortunate. Start 2021, we have an extra special program from one of our wonderful sponsors, Val Lang, and she is going to be talking about Cleopatra's beauty secrets, the anti-aging power of plants, and I'm ready for it, honey. If there's some anti-aging power that can get rid of 3 chins and jowls caused by weight gain during COVID, I'm all for it. Anyway, Val has filled out one of our wonderful new speakers packets, which makes it so easy for us to find interesting things to say about our coming programs. And by the way, this program is going to be on January the 5th. That's the first Tuesday of 2021. And Val describes herself in her speakers packet as the creative genius and formulator of a natural high, which is the business that she has. She is certified, and this really made me interested. She's certified and holds a certificate in homeobotanical therapy, which covers a lot of bases, but it involves 1,400 hours of study from the American College of Healthcare Sciences, plus she has a whole lot of other credentials. So if anybody knows what could have kept Cleopatra looking young, it should be Valkyrie Lang. So everybody, welcome to that program in January. I hope we all sign up for that one. Thank you, Karen. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so watch all of the wonderful newsletter that Nerys puts together. Will be coming out the last week of December, and you'll have all the information about what's going to happen in January, including the link to the January meeting. We're also trying to get all of our different programs going. As you can tell, we've got a pretty good record now. We're getting our meetings virtually. We're starting up the herbal products group again and trying to figure out what to do with culinary. And our wonderful field trip chair, Andrew Millian, former president, has figured out a way to get the field trips to go virtual. So Andra, would you give a little announcement for what you're planning? Okay, Yeah,
here.
there you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, so since we can't meet in person, I'm sending Norris some links to some short, relaxing, local and, broader places that we can visit virtually because, why not go wide if we don't have to actually drive there? So look for that in your newsletters. And also I know that Norris put on this past one, there's a little video on there. If anybody has pictures of their garden or any suggestions for videos that we might want to post someplace that you're curious about, I can look and see if they have something up. So just you can send them to me or I'll put my email down there, and then we can move on with that. And hopefully we'll be able to visit some of these places in person very soon.
Well, that just shows how creative the Austin Herb Society is. We'll have a schedule of trips that you're going to be able to take each month virtually at your own leisure, and they'll be promoted in each one of the newsletter. That's the newsletter has become such an important thing for us in the last 6 to 8 months, and we really appreciate all of Noris's wonderful creativity that goes into that, and people contributing articles and whatnot to that. January is also the time you're going to get your onions delivered, folks. So we've got a lot happening in January. That's all we have for now. I just have one final announcement. If you all like this, I want you to know that we're already working on our 40th anniversary. Judith and I are continuing to pour through those scrapbooks, where our 40th anniversary will be in 2023. And so if you would like to sign up for the 40th anniversary event committee, we'll just email us at the Austin Herb Society, because I can promise you we will have a lot of hooting and hollering for that one. There will be food and there will be hats. So we have lots and lots to look forward to. So I'm going to officially adjourn the meeting, but we can keep the lines open if you want to chat. We've got another half hour, so it's your pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. But happy holidays to everybody, and a big thanks to our program people today, Susan and Lucinda. This was absolutely fabulous. To our speakers, Stephanie and Judith, all the hard work that went into all of that. And most of all, thank you to you, our members. We just couldn't be where we are today without each and every one of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Karen.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, right back.
Sarah's waving. Sarah,
Merry
would you like to
Christmas.
say something? Sarah Schwartz? Yeah, Sarah, do you want to say something?
I didn't know I was waving, but yes, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. Actually, I'll be politically incorrect because it's Christmas time. Merry Christmas. I'll see you
And
next year.
happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
Yes.
Sarah and Sylvia did such a good job at our members only plant sales, showing how we can be creative and flexible. That was really fun. My plants are doing amazing that I got from that too, by the way.
Yes.
That's great.
The cookies were wonderful.
Yes, they
Thank
are.
you.
These young women are just quite the entrepreneurs. They're very sweet, and the presentation was great, and they were very easy to navigate their website. It's called Do Re Mi, DOUGH, and they deliver all over the city, and so they're worth checking out as well. And the fact that they actually formed this group to indulge their passion for baking and give themselves something to do, I think, during the lockdown, but also to do good in the world.
Yeah.
And,
It's good.
and they're, Sarah is a junior in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And her partner, whose name I can't remember right now, but she's also in high school.
Oh my goodness.
They boxed the cookies up and put the ribbons on them. We didn't have to do a thing.
No, because they came all boxed and everything.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Roberta, I love your backdrop. You guys are the
I
most
miss
festive
doing
right
the
there.
I miss doing the decorations this year, getting them all together and everything. It was always exciting. Kick off
Yeah.
for my Christmas.
Hopefully
so-
we'll come up with a meeting when you can decorate. It doesn't
That'd
have
be
to be
nice.
Christmas. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm doing the house outside and the house inside.
There you go. Yeah.
And you're decorating, John. I like the top hat. That's just perfect, John.
Yes,
Yes.
right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Why don't we see
Merry
you?
Christmas.
And
It was
thank
great
you
to
all.
see you, Bridget.
Bridget, are
Great
you
to see
there?
you too.
Bridget,
Yes.
this is Eileen. I want
Hi,
you.
Eileen.
I want you to know I actually dreamed about you a few nights ago.
Oh no! I hope he wasn't a nightmare.
No, it was not. One of the few lately that's not a nightmare. I was remembering when we went to Articulture and you and I took pictures. Somebody took pictures of the two of us sitting on that giant swing.
Right, right.
That was such a wonderful bonding time that I've thought of you often since then. And I'm so glad to see you here today, my dear. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Alina, and good to see all of you. I miss you all.
I'm going to send you that picture, Aline and Bridget. I don't know if it was Nerisse or John, but I got that picture in my call for photos for this, and it's beautiful of the two of you.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wanted to say, Jenny Chichester, hi. It was really nice. She was one of our elves for the distribution of the cookies, and it's just good to see your face.
Oh, yes. And I wanted to say thank you for the delicious cookies. Those were tasty. And right now I'm sipping the tea. I don't know if everyone got the same flavor. Mine was the tulsi, ginger, and turmeric.
Turmeric.
I've
Ooh.
never had tulsi together with those. Very tasty and happy. Merry Christmas, all.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Jenny,
Thank you.
Jennifer.
Everybody have a safe and happy holiday. And thanks to all who made the program possible. Bye now.
Bye, Sylvia.
Bye.
Take care.
Jennifer.
We've got a question from
You all take care.
Suzanne. Suzanne has a question. Does anybody know what's eating the kale? Anybody have any
I would like to
recommendations?
know too, because it's not the moths. It's not
Is
the
it
caterpillars.
Something is eating my cabbage. My first time
Yep.
planting cabbage.
Yep.
They're
And
eating I
broccoli.
have 6 and they're eating 3 or 4 and leaving the other 2 for some reason.
Are they eating the whole plant or just nibbling
No,
holes
they're
in the
just
leaves?
nibbling around. They're nibbling.
It
Yeah.
looks like flea beetles, I think.
Oh, beetles?
Well, maybe they died last night.
But I don't know if flea
Let's
beetles
hope.
are.
Let's hope.
Wow.
Because something ate all of my chard from the base, and now they started on my spinach.
Oh,
And I'm going
no.
to have to go out there and have a few words with them.
With us, they're chewing on my broccoli.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe we have bunny rabbits. Maybe we have bunnies. It sounds like something.
I have squirrels.
I put
Oh
some
God, the
diet in it.
squirrels.
They
They don't eat neat little holes. That look like
Just dig
worms.
up the
that-
plants,
that's
all. Now, I sprinkled some diatomaceous earth out around them and on the leaves and everything. I think that might have helped.
It
Yeah,
helps
and-
except
Not
for the
rain
watering.
yet, but-
And red pepper.
Red
It
pepper,
doesn't
yeah.
work, Lucinda.
Oh,
interesting. It works for a minute. It's like cayenne. I put cayenne
Yeah.
out and it works for a minute.
Yeah.
But the first hint of dew in the morning, the first hint of
cayenne will keep
moisture and
the
it doesn't
squirrels-
work.
Cayenne will keep the squirrels and mice and all the way out.
Yes, it helps.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, my
Okay,
my
thank
garden,
you.
my raised bed is
Thanks.
under netting, and I'm still there's something just chewed the heck out of my kale, and it's
Yeah.
not a squirrel, some kind of a worm or a beetle or something.
Well, we're all going to be making holy kale. That's all
Holy
I can
kale,
say.
yeah.
And some holy cabbage.
Maybe these are bunny rabbits with fangs, you know?
Ah,
Kind of like from the Monty Python movie.
That's scary, Aline.
No.
See, Chris,
Vampire bunnies.
You're gonna give us all nightmares.
Good, then I won't be alone.
I don't know if Chris Wank is still on, but I came across all these wonderful tubs of things that Judith had in her garage and I now have in my living room. I was going through a whole bunch of stuff and I saw the wonderful sign-in sheet. And Chris Wank, you are a guest. So just all the little things we have, being able to say the first meeting that you came to as a guest. Do you remember that? Do you remember coming? What brought you to your first meeting, Chris? Who got you involved? Nope.
Says her connectivity is poor.
Yeah, maybe type it in the chat if you could.
Moths lay eggs on the plants, typically the leaves.
Turn the volume up.
Great.
Well,
It
I
looks
can
like
tell you-
autumn's. Oh, go ahead, Kate.
Judith Kraft got me involved. She came down to my house and said, "Come on, Kate, we're going to go to a meeting." It was the luncheon. And I thought it was so spectacular. I joined on the spot.
Yep, the food will do it. Yep. And Chris says she went to a farmer's market and we had a booth. Somebody else said that they were at a home show and Lucinda had been talking about the club. So it's kind of neat to see the different outreach points where we've been able to bring people in. That's great. You remembered that, Chris.
And we had a booth at the Sunset Valley Farmers Market a couple of different times, and it seems like we went to the one downtown at Republic Square one time, we were invited to give a presentation there. And so we did that once.
Those were the days.
Yeah, I think my friend who was a member of AAGC, AHS, invited me to go with her to the February Soup Social. And this would have been in 2016, I think. And since I love to eat, that was quite an introduction.
We got you on the board right away.
Exactly.
There definitely is a theme here.
Hey, Barbara, we get to see her. Hi, Barbara.
It wasn't easy. I had to download a new version. Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Barbara, you're one of our longtime members. How did you first get involved?
That was good, Karen. One of your long time. Not, does anybody remember Sue Klinger?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. She said, "Oh, we have to go join this." And I said, "Really? I don't like to get my fingers dirty." She said, "Oh, there's food involved." Oh, yeah. So that was why. Yes.
Well, and I have to say that Barbara brought fresh baked bread to meetings for years, it seems like. I always look forward to your freshly baked bread.
That's great. And Jan, I see Jan says she joined and about 2 months later was writing the potpourri. I have some of the original versions of the potpourri. Susan talked about how we progress through time with all of these things. Remember the days that when you printed something, the typewriter font was like a handwriting. And if you needed to edit something, you would retype that sentence and paste it. There's a new kind of cut and pasting. You would paste it over the piece of paper, right, to make the correction, and then you would copy it. And we have some of the original versions of potpourri that we'll be able to have out on the tables for our anniversary.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Karen. Later.
Happy holidays,
And Merry Christmas.